All right, so let's go into Photoshop and we'll check out what was rendered out. So we'll go ahead and open all of these concrete renders to show you what each one did. So here's the normal map. You'll notice it doesn't have a lot of the big gradient mistakes like sometimes you'll see, except maybe here in the rebar there's a little bit. That's not a big deal. And this is the ambient occlusion. And this is a height map, which sometimes you can use this in your spec a little bit or just amplify your ambient occlusion. And this is the diffuse map. And the reason why we wanted this, because this will be easy to make our selections. If we just use a magic wand and then select the rebar, but then uncheck contiguous and select the rebar, it'll select all of that color. And then we can easily make our masks whenever we add metal or concrete or for this fence or for the concrete itself, like that. And this is a complete map which combines pretty much the ambient occlusion and the diffuse, which is interesting just to see. So all we really need here is the diffuse color, the normal map, and the ambient occlusion. So I'm going to go ahead and drop these onto each other. And if you want to make sure they line up, just hold down Shift when you drop, and it'll match it perfectly. So I'll double click this to make it a layer that's not a background locked. And for the ambient occlusion, what I want to do is get rid of the unnecessary black. So to do that, I'll control click the alpha, which since these were rendered as 32-bit Targas, they have alphas. I'll go ahead and do that and then select the mask, which creates a mask around them. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing by control clicking the mask or the alpha and then clicking add mask to that. And I will go ahead and sample the dominant color, which would be this brown, make a new layer and fill it. All right. So I'll take the ambient occlusion and we're going to want to multiply it on top. But since it had a little blue in there, you want to desaturate it. So Control Shift U will desaturate the ambient occlusion. And sometimes you may want to levels the ambient occlusion by hitting Control L. Just kind of make sure the whites are totally white and it's not darkening everything. All right. Now we'll go ahead and organize this by using folders. And we'll make a diffuse folder and a normal map folder. Now for the normal map, same thing. I'm going to go ahead and mask that out. And I'm going to pick the dominant blue in here, or purple, and fill it with that. And with a normal map, the first thing I always do is level each channel. Usually I'll bring the middle arrow to where the ramp starts on the blue channel, because you don't want to get it too crazy. And also what I'll do with the normal map is I usually clone it immediately, and I'll zoom in a little bit, and I'll go Filter, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask. And sometimes I'll go ahead and just blow it out anyways, and then just mask out the overblown areas. But for now, I'll just put around 60 or 70. Now, I would like to show you what I was talking about when I said giving different smoothing groups to create seams in your normal map. If you look here, you'll see there's a seam right here, over here, even over here, here, all down there. And it's not so bad because that's where the hard edges are anyway, so you really won't see those seams very easily. Now, if you had them out here in the open on a flat surface around like this detail here, it may be more noticeable. But it is a lot better than having the large gradients go across the surface. And the large gradients give it that doughy bubble look. We want hard edges and rock look in this situation. So I just wanted to show that off. This is pretty much as far as we're going to take the basic diffuse and normal for each of them. So I'm going to go through the rest of the textures and set this up and then show you the final result. I would like to first show you really quick a trick that I use when saving a texture a lot as Targa. I like to save the diffuse out as Targa for importing it to Unreal or in 3ds Max. So to do that real quick, I open the actions, and there's a default folder in here normally, but I just chuck it to the trash and deleted it. And what I want to do is create a new action and name it Concrete Diffuse Targa. And I'll set it to a hotkey, F2, and click record. And then I just want to save this as a Targa. And I'll make a Targa folder and name it Concrete Diffuse. And I don't want an alpha, so I'll keep it 24-bit. And that's it. And basically I'm going to create an action for each one of the other textures, but just for the diffuse, because that usually requires the most iteration. And then usually I'll put it in button mode, and sometimes I'll just drag it out and place it up here. And then I just have these little buttons. You just click it, and then it instantly saves out a Targa. And that saves a lot of clicking steps whenever saving out and hitting OK and choosing Targa and all that. So I'm going to create the actions and set up the diffuse, set up the basic PSD for the rest of the textures, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have went through all of the textures and combined the diffuse color and the ambient occlusion, just like I did with the concrete. So the ambient occlusion is on top, the diffuse color, I desaturate the ambient occlusion, and then we have a normal map that's sharpened a little bit and leveled, and also created an action for each one, and they're displayed as buttons. So for wood, I'll just press that, which saves it out as a Targa, or you can press F3. And then we have the sign and the cloth. I just picked the blue for now, the concrete, and then the fence and the ground. So we have 6 different textures here. Now you'll see there's the 6 PSDs, and now if we go in a Targa folder, we have 12 Targas, a diffuse and a normal for each. So now we're going to go into 3ds Max and apply a Metal Bump 9 shader to see kind of how it looks so far and make sure there's no big mistakes that we have to go back and re-render our textures out of 3ds Max. And if it looks good, we'll also throw it in Unreal and check it out with some basic lighting.